Welcome back to another episode of the Breakdown Podcast YouTube edition. I'm your host, Miller King 51, and with me, as always, is my partner in crime, Mr. NKO Gonzo.
That's me. That's me. Howdy.
We're here today to do our breakdown and reaction to this week's episode of Superman and Lois.
Yeah,
not Lois and Clark, which I have been saying all day today. But before we get to that, we're going to pay some bills in the form of asking you to be our best friends. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe to our channel, because by doing so, you help support our channel and keep us coming back doing more and more videos. And be sure to ding that notification bell so every time we make a new video, which is happening more often these days if you haven't noticed, you get notified right away. And make sure that you also check us out at twitch.tv/MillerKing_51 every Tuesday at 7 p.m.-ish for the actual live recording of our podcast. We are doing
the Flash and Falcon and Winter Soldier.
Yep, there it is. Also this week we will be doing our kind of take on the new Snyder Cut, so be sure to be there. Again, that's Tuesday at 7-ish. Please join us. We'd love to have you there. Corey.
And if you just want to listen to the audio version, it is available on Spotify, Apple Podcast, and Google Play.
There it is. Corey, this week's episode of Lois and Clark was... Nope. Yep, I did it again. This week's episode of Superman and Lois... I'm going to do it like 20 more times, I guarantee it. And every time I do it, just say nope, so I know that I've done it.
Will do.
So let's break this episode down.
Let's break it down.
Dude, this week's episode has again impressed me on the point at how much DC is working to push Superman's want to be a good dad. And I like it. It seems like it would be like, oh God, why are we doing this mushy stuff? But like, I like the idea that he is basically trying to balance home life with being the savior of the world. As General Lang has so emphatically put it, that he has a larger responsibility than just home. And every time he starts spewing that rhetoric, all he does is make Lois madder and madder and madder. And it is not working for him at all. And I think if he keeps pushing it, obviously he's going to do irreparable harm to his relationship with not only his daughter, but with, his grandsons as well.
Well, I think by the end of the episode, I think that relationship he already sees that relationship is falling apart. And because of that, I think he's letting down his guard in terms of, we got to protect Superman. We got to protect, he's doing right. But now it's like, maybe I'm wrong about this. Maybe I should be more concerned. So that's why he put in a contingency plan.
Well, let's start out with...
What that plan is, we don't know yet.
Yeah, let's start out with what happened this week's episode. We get our first live game for the boys. They are going up against another high school. They're on the sidelines, and Coach calls in the Kent kid, and obviously Jonathan thinks it's him. And he's like, not you, kid, the other one, short stack, get up here. And he calls in...
I'm going to call shenanigans on that. Any good coach, or any coach at all, if he knows he's got two brothers on the team, he's not going to say one name. He knows there's two people.
Yeah. You don't just say Kent. You call them by their number, or apparently he's got a nickname for him because he calls him Short Stack. But if that's the case, sure, no problem. Do that from the start. You don't make that mistake. But again, we do see Jonathan taking the brunt of putting out for his brother, giving up what he wants for his brother's happiness, I guess you would say.
He's willing to sacrifice it a little bit.
I can't see how long this lasts. Like, this whole thing. And again, he even says, like, I'm the one that usually gets the game ball. A little bit later on in the episode, he discussed the fact that I'm usually the one that gets the game ball. And, like, I feel for that kid. Like, I'm like, man, that kind of sucks. Like, I get it. Like, he understands what's going on. He understands why he needs to let his brother do this. But, like, it really sucks for him because he's literally not getting he's not getting a chance at all. Like
No.
there's just no chance for him to make it make any headway on the team, because the only thing that the coach is worrying about is winning, obviously, because that's what coaches do, but also that his brother is the new star of the team, and that's making everybody act very strange. It's putting Jonathan into the outsider role, which they discuss later on as well.
If he was so good at his previous high school, why would the coach not give him this opportunity to take a look at him? Maybe he is better. This coach isn't giving him any chance at all. And if he's a good coach, he's gonna take that. If he is a good coach, he's gonna take that opportunity to look at this other kid and go, oh yeah, this new dude's better, and he's gonna go with it.
And see, I think and he did, like, at the beginning of the prior episode, or 2 episodes ago. He puts him on the field, but the rest of the team was literally just trying to destroy him and make him look bad. And by making him look bad to the coach, like, it then, destroys his chance of being able to play. And that's what they were going for. That was the whole point of doing that. And he's stuck in that circle now, because then, when he should have had the chance to put the pop on that dude and get the respect from the team, and then, start to make his way onto the team, because you can't. I remember going from school to school, and you go to play, and they look at you and they're like, oh, yeah, you're going to play. Then you get on the field. The coach is like, yeah, you're going to play. And then the rest of the team is like, who do you think you are walking on our field thinking you're just going to take a spot, So I get that part of it, but at some point when you put you snot knock somebody a couple times, and they're like, oh, shit, that kid can hit. Then they're like, okay, let's make him work with the team. He's not getting that opportunity because his brother is just showing him up at every point, and all eyes are now on what's his name? Jordan. All eyes are on Jordan. So, like, he has no chance of really doing anything. So he's just kind of going along to get along. He's making it work because he wants his brother to be successful and happy. He's befriend Tag, the other kid that's kind of on the outs from the team because he broke his arm. We find out that Tag is literally, I guess he's the poor kid in the school. Because the rest of the kids make constant remarks about him not having money, about him not being able to afford things. He's like, oh, make sure he pays for those chicken wings before he leaves. You can't put those on layaway. I'm like, oh, I want to hurt that kid so bad.
Yeah. No, maybe times have changed, but when I was in high school, all the football players basically stuck together. I mean, sure, you'd give them, tease them and whatnot, but as a friendly tease, friends just giving each other. I wasn't on the high school team, but from what I saw, just from roaming the halls, they were all friends. Nobody hated somebody else or made fun of somebody else.
It's cliquey. Let's put it that way. It's very cliquey. As a team, you support each other against anybody outside of the team. But inside of the team, when people aren't paying attention, there are cliques and there are people who just give other people a hard time. I had that problem in my high school when I first showed up. Like, everybody was just after me. Like, I was the one that everybody wanted to hit. Everybody wanted to see, like, if I was as tough as I looked. And, I had to... Well, yeah, but... I mean... Have you seen me? I'm the size of a door frame. I'm the size of a door frame, dude. And I could run. So, like, that's 2 things put together that's not normal. So, I ended up playing defensive end. But it comes out to, like, there was a kid that I got into a massive fight with who was, like, one of the big like, superstars of the football team. And, like, he said something racist to me, and I just went in on him, and, like, that caused a problem. When I went on the field, like, all of his buddies hated me. And they all wanted to go after me until they realized that I'm actually a nice guy and this dude was being a jerk. And what he said, he didn't tell them what he said, obviously. Right. But once I told them what was going on, it kind of evened out. But it took a good, my 9th grade year was not easy starting on that team. By the 10th grade, I was part of the group. So I can definitely see how, either way, from both sides of that, it literally took, and it's that thing, like, you beat down the biggest dude on the field, and then you get respect, and that's what Jordan did by taking by taking out James, because I can't remember if that's his name, but by taking out James, the rest of the team suddenly was like, okay, this kid can hang. but they're still not giving his brother any respect, and neither is the coach, and that's kind of shitty. So, General Lane, after going to the game and was like, dude, why are you letting him play football? You can't do this. You know he has powers. This is not right. This is going to cause a problem. Da-da-da. It's like, on top of that, why is Clark down there coaching the team when he should be off in Metropolis escorting freaking Kilgrave from the penitentiary? Because guess what? Because he's not here all the time, all the bad guys are getting all uppity. I'm like, dude, I want to smack General Lang myself. Like, I want to hurt him.
Here's the thing with that. I'm not sure I like that idea that, because Superman isn't around as often, now we have to, all the criminals are starting to, we need to transfer criminals and this and that. What, I don't get the, did I miss something? Because they're in jail. If they're in jail, then what does him not being around as often have to do with anything?
So, I mean, he says it in the, in his little whatever. He's like, they don't see Superman in the sky, so they're getting bolder. And because they're getting bolder, they want Kilgrave out of prison because they need him. He's their tech guy. He builds their weapons. He helps them defeat the supes. You know what I mean? So they want him out. But because Superman is always around and they never know where he's going to be, they haven't tried to get him out because they feel like it's not a smart idea because they're going to get busted and end up in jail. I get that. The problem is, if you already have him in prison, why take him out where they can get to him to break him out of prison? Like, you are literally, like, if he's in the prison, they would have to break into the prison to get him, and nobody breaks into a prison. Like, that's just dumb. So they're like, oh, we're gonna transport him. And then I actually, like, Kilgrave in the comic books is just this, like, diminutive little, like, he's not a little person, but they made it, he's this little guy with this big head, big old red mop of hair. Like, he's really unopposing and, like, just nerdy dude. And in this, they obviously they got to make everybody look like a fucking Australian superstar or something. But
he actually looked like a homeless guy.
A homeless guy that has very fit, which makes no sense. But I'll digress. As he's sitting there talking to the cop, and he's like, can I see your watch? That's an awfully nice watch. It's analog. That's great. Blah, 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 blah. This is a compound that that's a thermal regulated compound, and he spits that wad of gum on the door, and I'm like, oh, that's an explosive. And as he's monologuing, telling them his plan in classic DC bad guy style, which I thought was pretty good, he's like, and the ticking of your watch is going to set it off. And the first thing that came to my mind is, break your watch, dude. Like, that's a bomb. It's about to blow up the door. He said your watch is doing it. Break your watch. It doesn't go off.
Well, here's the problem. What are the odds that guard would have a watch that did that? In order for him to blow that up, he had to have something there that would do that. He had no idea that guard was even going to have a watch on, much less have one that ticked like that.
I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt and say maybe he paid attention to, like, what's going on and he knows the cops from the prison. Maybe. I don't know. I understand your point. But more so to me, we know how explosives work, right? So you're inside of you're inside of a giant metal box, right? Mm-hmm. So if an explosion goes off inside of a sealed metal box, the concussion from that explosion, which was obviously big enough to blow that door open, should have killed everybody inside of that box.
Yes.
How is he still alive? If the cops die in there, how is he still alive? I digress. I'm literally just bringing this up, folks, because sometimes they need to think about these things. Like, it really doesn't make a whole lot of sense, because that's just common. Like, if you put a firecracker inside of a medicine bottle and you light it and close it, it blows up and explodes the medicine bottle. Compressive explosion. Anyway, he gets loose. Intergang, is that what it was? Was it Intergang? Yes. So Intergang breaks him out. Classic, DC, just undescript bad guy group, like gang of people, Intergang.
It's from the comics.
No, yeah, most definitely. But it's just the way, like, It's just an indescript, generic bad guy group. Yeah. They break him out. Obviously, because this happens, it happens directly after General Lang is like, hey, boys, stop distracting your dad, because if he's distracted, bad things happen. And then, yep, bad things happen because he's not there to escort the Kilgrave because he's off taking care of family matters.
Well, this... After this all happens, he does a little recording into some fancy tech thing that he has, and it flies off and lands somewhere. Meanwhile, Superman has been buzzed. His little buzzer went off, and he went and he found that thing, and it was recording him saying, something like, "I will find you" or something. Whatever. Yeah. Now you fast forward a little bit in time. And at the team meeting, as they're going over team films for the football team, the kid that broke his arm,
Tag,
goes in. Yeah, Tag. He goes into the bathroom, and one of Clark's sons follows him in there.
Jonathan.
And he knows something's going on, and really what it is Tag is shaking so bad he ends up breaking the cast off, and his arm is miraculously cured.
Not only breaks it, but disintegrates it. That's the key point. He's vibrating, and he's vibrating so quickly that he's disintegrating the things that he touches, and he's breaking them down. So basically what it's coming down to is, during out the episode, also Jordan was like, "Oh my god, I turned him into a super by hitting him with my eye lasers," and he's like, "That's not how this works, dude. That's not what happened. There's no way." But then Grandpa basically says, "Yeah, well, there's a compound, whatever."
Hold on. This is the important thing. They looked at the footage from what happened that night, and he said that there was apparently you can't see it, but his people could see it. There was some kind of gas that sparked this
explosion
genome or the what?
Yeah, he said there was an unexplained chemical or whatever, or compound that was ignited from the explosion. And when it vaporized, Tag got hit with it. That's why he broke his arm. The explosion broke his arm, but he got hit with whatever that substance was, and it's causing him to turn into a super. But we've seen this. Like, at this point, they're explaining what we already know, and that's the fact that somebody is making supers. And of course, Edge wants the mining rights for this town, and now we know why. We understand what he's doing. He wants to get the mining rights for the town. Lois is like, "I need you to come," because Lois cannot put out, and she can't write anything else about Edge. Edge puts a gag order on her because of her contract from when she worked at the planet, and says, "You're not allowed to write anything, or you'll get sued." And she's like, "Crap."
I gotta comment on that because they didn't even look at that when that girl dropped that off. They're just like, "Oh, well, I guess we're done." You didn't even read it. You have no idea what that said.
I was like, fine, you don't need to sign your name on it.
Put somebody else's name on it.
Let her write it. Like, sources told us that this, and that. You don't have to name your sources. You're the press. Like, the owner of the Smallville Gazette could still print that story, which I thought was kind of funny. She's like, "How do you even know we've written that story?" Which obviously means they're hacking into their system and reading all of their stuff, which is a crime in itself. So I'm like, okay, well, you're going to sue us, and we'll just make sure they know that you were hacking into my system to find out about the story.
Which,
I'm like, they just give up. Just turn around and walk away from it.
Which, to Lois's defense, she ends up meeting him and says, "Yeah, if you're going to try and sue me, that's great. I'll counter sue."
Right. And then all of your dirt will come out in Discovery. I was like, all right, Lois. I'm like, that was one of the best, like, strong arm defenses I've seen on TV. Like, she's like, "Sure, go ahead and sue me." And then you know what happens when you sue me? I get to counter sue. When I counter sue, I get to go through all your stuff. And Edge was just like, "Oh crap." So he's like, "Well, maybe we have to kind of," but by doing that, she's also put a target on her back, in my opinion. Like, we definitely, well, more so now. But so she walks away and leaves him there. Then that was the end. So they're there. She actually
There's supposed to be a vote.
There's supposed to be a vote, and she can't say anything because she's basically being gagged. She asks Clark to come and speak since he's the son of Smallville. Everybody loves him. Maybe he can talk the people of Smallville into voting against this thing. And the only one that votes against it basically is the owner of the newspaper, and they're all just kind of staring at her like, "What are you doing?" But they just don't understand that the only reason why Edge wants this space is because he's looking for that substance, which is actually called X-kryptonite.
Yeah.
Which is...
Was it yellow?
Yes, it's yellow.
Okay, that's what I thought.
So basically what it comes down to is when Clark came down to Earth, apparently a bunch of Krypton followed him down. It was chemically altered somehow upon entering Earth's atmosphere, some of it, and it landed in the mine and around the city, around Smallville, and he's figured out that it's there. And basically by processing that shit, they can give humans Superman style powers, and that's why we had Subject 11. That's why we have that Kelchik. Was that her name? Raquel? I think it's Raquel.
I think she was called Creepy Chick.
Yeah, she did call her creepy, didn't she? No, it's her name is Lar. That's what it is, not Raquel. Lar.
That's not a name.
But well, I have a feeling it has something to do with like Kal-El. I think she's gonna be like something Lar, and I don't know. I'm not sure how that's gonna play out. But she punches the side of that mine wall. It opens up. There's some yellow crystals in there that look like kryptonite crystals.
Is she the same one from last week or the week before that lasered the dude?
Yep, that's her.
Okay,
I didn't know
I didn't know if that was the same person or a different one. I was just saying, if it's a different one, then yeah, we're gonna start seeing cropping up. But
okay. I'm wondering if they're gonna play her out to be Superwoman, like the evil version of Superwoman, which she's gonna have like all of Superman's powers and fight him, but then it's gonna figure out that like it's not. She's human.
We already know she's got laser eyes, and she can punch through rock walls.
So here's my question, right? On that part of it, because we still have to talk about Kilgrave and what he's up to. But with that in mind, think about this. So what if a human being gains Superman powers by whatever process they expose them? And obviously exploding those crystals and vaporizing them, and then someone breathing them in can give you superpowers, because that's how Tag has it, right? Okay. So what happens if Jonathan and or Jordan get exposed to those vapors? Because they are half Kryptonian. Is that going to like augment them and like turn them into Superman? Because obviously...
Well, I'm no doctor and I'm no scientist.
It puts them on par, because, Subject 11 was beating the tar out of Superman for a minute before he froze him and then did his ultimate combo on him.
Well, I'm no doctor, I'm no scientist, but I do watch a lot of comic book stuff. I'm gonna say what it's going to do is it's going to alter both of them. Maybe put one at 50% and the other one at 100% in terms of levels of special powers.
Okay.
But I think it's going to enhance it. To where they become closer to their full form.
How long before General Lang tries to put Jordan into that special school that they send Tag to? Which, I'm jumping the gun a little bit. By the way, while all this is going on, the boys are attending a post-game party in which they are drinking and making merry, which I find interesting that they just continuously show these 16-year-old kids drinking alcohol constantly.
Yeah. You know what? Hold on. That's a good point. You too. This is on the CW. It's probably on at 8:00. I don't know what time it is. I stream it, so I don't know.
Yeah.
But for them to continuously show kids drinking, I I don't know, maybe it's just the old person in me, but I don't think that's great. I don't think it's a great idea. I think that, and where are the parents every, like somebody's having a party every weekend.
Right.
Like, where are all these parents at?
It's just like it's like Cobra Kai. Like, there's no parental responsibility on these shows, none whatsoever, except for Superman and Lois. They're doing a good job. I'm proud of them. Yeah. But so the boys are at this party. They're trying to help Tag. Tag like flips out. He breaks what I believe was a pool table. The edge off of a pool table, I think. I'm not sure.
I
but
couldn't tell.
His buddy was the one dude that was picking on him in the restaurant was like, "You're too poor. You can't afford to replace a nice furniture." Tag gets mad and runs out of there. And obviously Jonathan chases after, and following is Jordan. And they try to help him, but he's just like gone into what I would say would be almost like he looked like Quicksilver in Age of Ultron, when he's just bouncing off the walls and like randomly zipping around and like all that. So it was a pretty good effect. I'm not gonna dig him for that for sure, but there was definitely kind of that kind of thing. The boys are trying to help them. While that's going on, Superman is getting his butt handed to him by Kilgrave using a sonic gun, which apparently does something to Superman's hearing so bad that it makes his ears glow.
Like his whole head was
I was like,
up.
I'm not sure why that effect is necessary, but it's a thing they were doing. Obviously, so we knew what it was doing. But he's just like blasting him and blasting him and blasting him. But then they set off the ELT to get Dad to come help them. He hears what's going on, even though he's having his ears assaulted by this sound cannon that's like right in front of him. He manages to like separate that from his boys, which is fine. I mean, Anyway, he takes off to go help the boys, but before he does that, he just jumps up and beats Kilgrave. I'm like, why were you getting beat down by Kilgrave? But then like, oh, bam, Kilgrave is down. But as he's walking off, he's like, hey, Kilgrave is down. I got him. Bring in the ambulances. There was collateral damage. He takes off. That's the problem. It wasn't like they're playing it off like the general is upset that he's not available, and he is, but he's becoming reckless because he's not available. He's not taking the extra care to protect the citizenry. He's like, oh, I took out Kilgrave. By the way, I also may have taken out about 20 other people that were just standing around watching, by the way.
Yeah.
So, F you, you deserve to get hit by that. By the way, you deserve to be hit by the Incredible Hulk clap, which you're just standing around watching Superman get his butt kicked. You deserve to be hit by the Incredible Hulk clap that happens out of nowhere. I was like, that move looks real familiar. But he takes everybody out. He heads off. He flies out and saves the boys and Tag from themselves. At the end of the episode, we find out that apparently this is happening all over the place, not just in Smallville. They're finding these kids that are gaining superpowers, which obviously we're going to get some other form of a Young Justice or something's coming down the road. I don't know what it's going to be. But just the fact they're bringing that up means there's something in the works that's going to involve Jonathan and Jordan, I think, down the road. But he's like, yeah, we put him in a special school, which means they've locked him up inside of a lab somewhere where he's never going to be seen again. So that's how that works. But he... Go ahead.
Too. With Tag, it reminded me of Smallville and... like basically the hero or
the villain of the week.
Yeah.
Who came across some errant leftover kryptonite somewhere, and it caused a change in their physiology and turned someone into a spider girl.
Not even in a bad way. I was like, oh, this reminds me of watching Smallville when, just a random teenager would start getting powers. He's like, oh, who's this guy gonna he gonna turn out to be? So that was kind of fun to see.
Yeah. So Lane, with everything going on, he realizes he's losing control of Superman. He realizes that there's a growing threat of Metropolis being overrun by bad guys because Superman's not available, even though he makes it from Smallville to Metropolis in like 3 seconds, mind you. So if they hit the button, they're like, hey, there's a problem, he's there within like 3 seconds. I don't see what the problem is. Again, General's being greedy.
Faster than the speed of light.
Right, faster than a speeding bullet. So
or that too.
He calls in on a secure line. He's like, hey, we need a contingency. Superman's, out of pocket. We're going to name this contingency 7734, which is what was on the tag that Captain Luthor gave him, that if you turn upside down, reads hell. So Project Hell is basically what's happening. So with that said, Luthor came back in time or whatever he's done. He gave that to the General, which then inspired the General to do something stupid. So when it's all said and done, did Luthor really cause the problems that he's actually back blaming Superman for? I think so. But again, I think what's going to happen is the General is going to try to create his own version of Superman that he can control and get to do what he wants when he wants, so he doesn't have to rely on Superman. That's what I think is happening. I think that that's going to be kind of the premise of it, and then I think that in doing so, they're going to F it up, and they're going to create an evil Superman based on your comment from the first episode. You're looking for Bizarro to show up. This is the perfect way for them to end up with a Bizarro Superman.
Yep, Bizarro.
So,
right, I think
we'll see what happens. That is everything from this episode, start to finish. Not exactly in order, as always, because we just talk about this show. We riffed on what we know, we riffed on what we think about, and we give you our thoughts and ideas about what's going to happen, as always. So, yeah, that's it.
Yeah, and the whole thing with Lana and her husband, I mean, it doesn't matter. We don't care about that anyway.
But they made up. They made out. Maybe things will be a little bit better. I still don't like him, so we'll see what happens.
All right, well, that's going to end this video. We do want to thank you for watching, and please, again, hit the subscribe button, the like button, and the little bell thingy.
Ding that bell. That's me.
I'm Corey. Thanks for watching. We'll talk to you next time.
See ya!